A warm rut, what does this mean for whitetail deer and you? We asked Steve Sherk, and he breaks down what he has seen with running over 150 trail cameras in the big woods of Pennsylvania and how warm weather can and cannot impact the rut. This is what you need to hear for right now. Here we go.
When we talk about rutting activity, yes, like the rut's going on all the time, but the point is weather is going to influence the daylight movement because they're not going to move as much when it's 70 degrees out
Yep, exactly.
in the day.
in the day.
And if I don't talk about night photos because I don't care who you are as a deer hunter, you're probably always going to get more night photos than you are day. So there's so much information there, and I don't hunt at night obviously, so I don't really, but I can just tell you just from observing it, like when you get like these warmer ruts, I tend to see an increase in night activity because I think they're just waiting all day for that temp to drop.
Absolutely.
So the rut is still going on. There's still fawns are going to be coming out the same time, but it's all based on when you're in the woods, daytime movement. Like this is the stuff that we really need to be focusing on. I can't tell you the amount of people that contact me and say, Steve, you're so wrong about how temperature is a factor in the rut more than, I think most hunters will agree that weather changes and temperature does have an influence in deer movement, but most hunters, or not most, but some hunters believe that once the rut comes, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's crazy. And at least where I'm from, I'm not hunting, I'm only hunting big woods, mountainous terrain. I've never seen it any other way since I've been doing this. And even before I started to, jot all this information down, my own experience, like I saw these results just in basing,
Right.
what I'm putting in my head.
Right.
But I cannot see how anyone can argue that temperature does not have an influence in rutting activity in the daytime. If you look here around November 4th, we had that good cold stretch through late October and early November. But then if you look, we got from the 4th to, roughly
11.
yeah, you see, look at those warm temperatures. We're mainly high 60s and 70s, and that's actually still can be a decent time, a pretty good time to be in the woods, the 4th through the 11th, but we were pretty much dead in that period. It's all temperature based. I would say 80% is temperature based. I also think we went into a lockdown period, but you throw multiple variables in there to slow down that movement, and it makes for some really tough hunting. And then when you getting down to maybe around the 12th here, we got that 15 to roughly 20 degree temperature drop between high and lows, and you see the spike in activity. Once again, temperature related, and then when you have when things are right, you're coming off that lockdown period, and then you also have the temperature helping you out. When you have multiple variables in your favor, that makes the hunting 2, 3, 4 times better.
Absolutely.
So that's just another thing. If you're, say you're a guy that you might be able to pick your days when you want, but yet you have a family, you have priorities, you might say, oh, I don't know, it's not too bad, right at this certain period of time, but, I think I'm going to be getting out of lockdown. Plus we got this cold front coming in. I think I'll wait it out and, take some days away from the family then. That's just crucial information and things that you should be keeping an eye on, especially,
Absolutely.
when you're someone in those shoes. Because here's where, I love this part here where things just explode. And this is what you should see every year when the weather is right during the rut. You're going to get people say that that's just normal. This is prime rut. You should see these numbers. I'm telling you, if you didn't see this stretch of, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 20 some degree mornings, those numbers would have dropped.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, those, especially when it's like, 28, 25 or lower, just super cold, crunchy, you can hear them coming. Unbelievable deer activity. And that's exactly, coupled with being such a prime time of year, that's exactly what we're seeing here in early November. And actually, if you look November 6th, and that's the day I shot my buck, that was our best day we had out of all of 2021. And also look at the low, 20 degrees. Coldest morning produced the most activity. And actually, if you were to go back and look at the coldest morning in October, best activity that day too.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
That's interesting.
yep.
Yeah, things start to get trending upward. Really, I mean, that first 33, I would call it 33 degrees.
Yep.
November 2nd was the light switch. 32
Yep.
daylight photos. November 3rd, you're at 28 degrees, 24 daylight photos.
Yep.
26 degrees the next morning, 33 daylight photos. 24 degrees, 16 daylight photos.
Yep.
20 degrees, 36 daylight photos.
Yep. It just went nuts. And then once again, you look, and it does start to warm up a little bit here, coupled with a general time of lockdown.
Yep.
And you see it starts to slow down.
Yep.
And basically throughout the whole month, it does that. But I can't emphasize enough. I'm actually always more interested in that low temperature than the high. Some people are more interested in the high, but I'm telling you, and I'm probably more of a morning hunter in the rut. I've had more luck in the mornings. If it's 32 or lower, especially in the 20s, whatever you can do, you got to get in the woods.
I'm fast forwarding down to the 14th. We kind of,
Yep.
The 1st through the 6th or 7th, that great giant spike daylight activity.
Yep.
Still good daylight movement between the 8th all the way down to the 13th.
Yep.
Kind of consistent temperatures, but your double digit daylight photos still.
Yep.
And then there's a decent spike on the 14th, not a giant temp drop.
Yep.
The morning low again,
Not
32
to
degrees.
cut you off, but I think we might have missed something here. Is if you look at the 12th, 11th, 12th, we had that it warmed up. But
Yes.
when you see on the 13th, it drops to 41 and 33. Even though we didn't see the major spike, I think what happened there once again is that weather did not happen during daytime hours. So really, it was more consistent with the big spike on the 14th of the 34 and 32. That's when the daylight information started to show up. So it was really that cold front that threw another spike at it.
Yeah.
It stayed cold all day that day. The
Yep.
high was 34, the low
Yep.
was 32.
That's really a great point too, is anytime you see even colder, like anymore, like I hardly finding days in archery where it's like 32 or below, the whole day. But anytime you can get close to freezing and stay freezing, I'm not one of those guys that does a ton of day or all day sits, but those are days you should definitely be in the stand as much as possible.
So I did some numbers in that November cold front from 2020 to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So the average cold temperatures from that first to mid-November for 2020, the average cold temperature was 39 degrees. And you had 3.6 daylight photos as your average. 2021, your average low is 30. So below freezing.
Yep, below freezing.
The average daylight photos in that period was 17.
Yep. Plus, like I said, some of that is related to cameras not being in the right place, but still, you keep that.
That's a big difference.
There's still enough there that more is responsible for that information.